we are waking up to something, but most of us don't even understand what we're waking up to.
That's exactly what we're experiencing, and it's a
Yeah,
great analogy in the fact that we're all filming our own lives.
is
We're
that
writing the script of the story of our lives. We're the producer, we're the director, we're all the actors, the extras, we're everything.
The power you seek lies within you, as we are each infinite beings living a human experience. The truth of who and what we are has been hidden from us until now. Awaken, my friends, to this new reality that we are in fact creating everything through the power and the gift of our wonderful imagination. Join me as I unlock the secrets of our past and reveal the truth that has been clouded in this veil we call life. What reality will you choose to create today? The choice is yours. Welcome, my friends, to My Reality Practice.
I'll be the moderator and I will let you know as questions come through. I know we got Sienna on here, Diana is on here, Tina,
giving?
Harvey, we've got
Oh,
yeah.
they need a badge. They need a golden badge from us, the diamond badge, because they are super amazing supporters. We need to reward them as they are really good because they want to learn of us and we want to guide them. I don't think I have followers. I keep saying to people, I have people that want to learn from us. And thank you, girls, to being here. I love you all. They're all my massive friends, massive supporters. I support them back whatever they need. And it's 1 minute to go. Do you want to just give some introduction?
Well, yeah, I mean, we can kind of get started. That's fine. I was just telling April before we went live today that the topic of this show is, alternate realities, dimensions, parallel universes, uh, you know, uh, quantum jumping. This is going to be like the most exciting. I could talk, I think, both of us for hours on this. 1 hour is not going to be long enough. But I told her right before we came on, I said, oh my God, I just jumped realities because you knew I was having anxiety with all the trouble we've had trying to go live on this. And finally, an hour before the show, I'm freaking out like usual, that anxiety. And I texted you, I messaged you, I said, I got to go meditate for a little bit. During my meditation, I was told, what the hell are you worried about? Contact your good friend, your brother, Jesse Howell, over at the Missing Link, his show. He does like 6 lives a week with hosts, with guests. And I'm like, all I did, I just reached out to him like, Jesse, you got a second? Help me out. And he said, yeah, use this StreamYard, and
Wow,
said it's super simple. And
so
boom,
simple.
just like that, I jumped timelines. I jumped into a new reality of empowerment.
Absolutely amazing. Tag him there and say thank you, Jesse Hall. Thank you.
Yes,
We are,
yes, I'm going to do that right now at
yeah, just tag
Jesse.
him and say come on to the show and come and support us, and because we're going to talk about these parallel realities, and you just created one for yourself. Well done. What an interest of the show.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was like it couldn't have worked out any better. It's like we're going to talk about this topic, and here I just literally went from a state of disempowerment and fear and anxiety into empowerment, and it said just ask for help. Don't be afraid. Just reach out. And he was right there. He said, "Yeah, I'll come on. What do you need?" And it took 5 minutes, and boom, this was all
Okay,
solved and all of our stress was gone.
let's thank him, and let's talk about this. I mean, parallel universe and quantum physics equals consciousness. In my thoughts, what do you think about that?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
go for it. Yeah.
no, because
Oh,
I I have so many experiences now that I understand where I am in my life. Looking back, I could never talk about this if I didn't experience all these realities that I've been through since a young lady, because I think I've quantum jumped a few realities from my teenager years without realizing. For those that are watching, I thank you for all to being here, because you're going to learn of us to understand what are these parallel universe we're talking about. A lot of people ask, and Albert Einstein made so many books about this query. I mean, he was studying this forever to leave as a legacy that these things really exist. And when I was 17 years old, I quantum jump without knowing. I seen England in my thoughts, in my dreams, in my realities. I used to fly over my dreams. I used to fly and fly and fly. And I saw England, and I didn't recognize England until I came to England when I was 22 years old, 23 years old. So I've already been in England when I was 17 years old without knowing the country. That is a parallel universe right there. This is, for me, one of the most amazing experience I have experienced. But prior that, when I was in high school, I had a friend that she thought I was somebody else, because she thought she even called me Isabel. She said, "Oh my gosh, Isabel, you are like this and that." I said, "I'm not Isabel." "Oh no, oh, you must have a twin somewhere, because you will sound like Isabel." But then another time when I was 20 something, I was in Algarve, and just before I came to England, and I had a lady call me an artist, a very beautiful artist, cinema artist, and she called me her name as well. And I said, "I'm not that artist. I'm just a normal girl in the Algarve, and my name is Liliana." So I was mistaken 3 times in my life for somebody that apparently it's living a completely different life than my life at the time. And I was in a parallel universe, living different realities. But I have so many stories that the most recent one was over here in Como. But before I go into this one, because most of my realities have shown to me in my consciousness, but during my sleep almost, I wanted you to start this and tell me what you think about, how do you perceive these realities? Because I've listened to Brian Scott about one episode that he was confused himself, and he thought he was like trapped in this reality, but he had to get out of this reality himself. Do you remember that episode? Because I think we both gone through it last year when we yeah. And Brian himself, he got out of these realities, just creating new ones. But please, Joe, tell me.
Yeah, this is such an amazing and awesome topic to discuss, because there's so many avenues we can go down this, because we live in an infinite reality, an infinite universe, and this is, I think, understanding the basics, of how quantum physics, quantum science works, is an important key to being able to kind of unlock and start to really dive into all of these different possibilities that exist out there. For the easiest, like, visual person, I thought of this last week, was if you imagine what is infinite realities, what is, the ability to quantum jump and change your frequency, what does that look like? And I thought to myself, what came to me was, if you imagine like a big board, that goes on forever, endlessly, and on that board there's light bulbs, infinite number of light bulbs, just as far as the eye can see, and all those light bulbs are turned off. Well, the idea is, with quantum physics and the jumping of realities, is all we have to do, since we're all made up of energy, is we have to harness that frequency, harmonize that specific frequency to flip the switch on this light bulb here. And at any point in time, if you want to jump to this light bulb here, you flip a different switch. I think that's where the science is going. That's where spirituality and everything we're talking about is leading us to the answers. We don't have them yet, but it's leading us to the answers of how we flip these light bulbs on, and how we change that frequency from one state to another, from one reality, which is infinite, to another. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. And I have, for all that are watching, I'm sorry I can't see you as always. I just wanted to understand how I see it now, because I live so many things throughout my life. And at the moment, you guys see me as Liliana, but there's a powerful woman out there that I know is an equal version of me, because I know it 100% sure, because I've been shown in dreams who I am in other reality that is living. It's actually happened as alongside a living reality right now with another version of me. There's so many versions of us, and the way I can describe this to anybody think they are crazy, you're not. Just imagine the deck of cards. This is how I easily can explain this. Once you shuffle them time and time again, Joe, if you agree with me, it comes to a point that the same card is going to pop out, because you keep shuffling and you keep shuffling. This is how I see it, okay? This parallel universe. A deck of cards, shuffling time and time again. You got the ace of spades, whatever you want to call it, and then you shuffle them again, and you keep seeing the same card because they've been shuffled. This is how, as I can see us in the universe right now. Another way that I came across with this most easy explanation, because it's just like ping in my brain. It's, do you know the film productions? They take many takes until they get it right. So take one, take two, take three, and then all these takes, they will take the best version of the take to put it out live for the film, which is the best version. They want to take the best version of all these takes. So that's when they take 1, 2, 3, 10, 20, sometimes God knows how many takes they do. I see myself as this. We live in the parallel universes, and we try, now that we know this very well, we try to take our best version while we're here, because we learn who we are now. Now, I see myself in these films doing another take and another one until I become and perfecting myself on these realities. So at the moment, before I came from this poor family, I didn't know anything about it. Limited beliefs, paradigms that always been the same. Now that I know what I know, and I understand that there's so many versions of me out there, I don't get stressed out anymore, because I know there's a powerful Liliana. That's how people see me now. You are so powerful, and they don't understand. But no, I'm just this. Actually, I'm not. I'm those field takes that I've done. I've done one after the other to try to find the best version of me. How do you think about that as just a general view?
Right. I love it. I love the card analogy. What was the other analogy? Oh, the movie, filming a movie. I love that analogy, because that's exactly what we're experiencing. And it's a great, it's a great analogy in the fact that we're all filming our own lives. We're writing the script of the story of our lives. We're the producer, we're the director, we're all the actors, the extras, we're everything. And you said it right. There's an infinite number of you. There's an infinite number of each of us out there. And in one reality, I'm Liliana de Cruz. In another reality, you are me. We have this ability. It's kind of that idea of we're all one. We're all connected through source. So therefore, I am you, you are me. We're all a part of each other. And I think that's really a key in understanding how our evolution works. I feel like, we jump into all these timelines, like of you, of me, of anybody in the world, and we get to experience what they go through. And I think that's on a next, that would be if we base it on kind of what we believe from the raw material, from the law of one. They're a sixth density entity that's a collective of the planet Venus. So for us, in time, it may be hundreds of thousands of years, it may be millions of years from now, we too will be a conscious collective from the planet Earth. And all of us will be connected. All of us will have and share the same memories, the same thoughts. We'll be able to pull to that one event or that specific time. It's the idea is there is no such thing as the past or the future. There's only right now in this current moment. So how do we jump those timelines? How do we jump into realities? How do we change our frequency to match this version or that version?
Yeah, the version we want. Because
That's the question I would ask for you.
Yeah.
But it made me think of a funny part of the movie in Spaceballs. Are you familiar with Spaceballs? Mel Brooks. Oh, it's a
No,
classic comedy. It's based on Star Wars. It's a farce of Star Wars. You've
I
got to watch it. It is
no.
so hilarious. But
Well,
in it,
I create this version of me when my spiritual awakening started. I was confused.com. I didn't know what was going on until I've done this. I think I told you about this, and for anybody that's watching, because maybe you girls who watching or boys that don't know, but I have every week. I'm bombarding with people saying I resonate with you. Thank you for your videos. Sometimes we make a live video and people say they make nothing of it, but then they actually watch it and they understand that they are not going crazy as because we think we're going crazy. So we're talking about our craziness right now, but a lot of people are waking up to this craziness. So they kind of left their old versions to do more takes on this film, right? So one of the things that happened to me here that I can understand how I jumped this parallel universe, and this was the most bizarre experience I have. I knew I had been through things in my life that were kind of weird, and I have been into other planets with one of the guy I took with me was actually Jerry Sargent. When one of my in one of my dreams, we jumped realities and we went to watch these planets, and we were in 7D dimensional realm. The reason I know we were there because these entities were very, very evolved. So one of the ETs grabbed my hand and showed me all these planets, and they were around here, and everybody could see them from the naked eye, and everybody was like kind of lost. Only me and Jerry Sargent, if he ever comes to watch this, I don't think he will, but we were just like doing pirouettes up in the air, and we just like I was showing my acrobacy. I could fly, I could turn, it was like these acrobats in a circus. I was one of them, and I was playing a different reality while I was sleeping. Then I used to put all this in a reality revolution on my dreams because they become parallel realities of universe that I lived. One of the most extreme experience that ever happened to me, and this was real because I had two witnesses. They were with me. It was in a high street when I was we're going through the high street with my friends, and there was apparently a car parked in the middle of the pavement, and they said I bumped into the car, and I told you this story, and I've just done this with my shoulder, they said, and I just done this and there was nothing happened. And they was like, you just bumped against the car. You should have, supposedly I should be injured because I kind of dive into it and just hurt myself apparently. Right. But I made nothing of it. And I said, which car? Did I? I totally understood what I was having. And I kind of know now that I've entered a quantum tunnel. So when I've entered this quantum tunnel, for me, there was no obstruction, there was no car, there was nothing. But then after a few meters away, they said, you just bumped into that car. And I look back and the car was there, parked on the road. It was a black car. And I was like, how on earth I just gone through it without feeling it? And they saw me doing this, like nothing happens. And I was like, I don't even remember to get through it or to knock it or to bump against it. That itself, that was a real experience. I can tell you the name of the girls. I was with Sonia and Erica, and they were laughing. I was like, okay, I know what just happened, but let it because they wouldn't believe it. If I told them what I know about it, they probably would think, But I laughed and I said, okay, that's fine. Did I? Right. That was the most recent experience. It was about a few months ago. About a quantum jump, maybe in a parallel reality. That was maybe on these realities I can do these things. I can just go through walls because in my dreams I go through walls and I fly, and those are realities that exist simultaneously as this physical body. You agree?
Yes. And I my perception of the dream state is once we fall asleep, because our brains never shut off, they're never unconscious necessarily, but when we enter that dream state, they have to go somewhere. Our
Yeah.
brains have to do something, so that energy doesn't just like turn off. I believe that once we enter that dream state, that is truly us jumping into other realities that are happening simultaneously. But while we're sleeping, it's like, okay, let's go experience this. Let's go test this out. It's a testing ground for what we want to bring into the reality we have when we're awake. So, there's so much study, so much stuff we can go into on dreams. I mean, that's a whole nother episode in and of itself. But yeah, I believe the dream state, we go somewhere. I tell my youngest son when I put him to sleep at night, it's like, have amazing journeys, because I know that once he falls asleep, he's off somewhere. I'll talk about, what planet did you visit? Who did you visit? Where'd you go last night? I just like to have those kind of discussions with him to keep his mind, he's 11, but to keep his mind and imagination still playing and staying in that power that he has before he hits teenage years and shuts it all off and forgets about his power that we each have.
This is amazing. Is anybody in the feeds asking any questions? Because I would love to know if there's anybody have any examples.
No questions necessarily. Richard's made a few statements. I know he said something about the film jumpers and the ability to jump from country to country with no plane. And I think I've seen that one. And yeah, it's kind of, they're able to just instantly open a portal. They go here, they go there. That's a lot. That's a lot of what this is.
Is that the time film is about the time travel? Because is that about time travel? Okay.
I think so, yeah.
That is real. I believe this is just about to land in our future very, very soon. We are going to be able to time travel. A lot of people don't understand. Remember, we are already living in parallel universe. If I can describe this in a better position, in a better place right now, I haven't watched many documentaries about parallel realities or anything like that. I only listened to one Brian Scott lecture, very minimal about this. But how I describe it at the moment is we are already in 5D, but some of us are operating 5 and some are still operating 3. But conscientious, we know that the planet already transcended to 5D. We're already there. But because some people have not, like what we call it, experienced the human journey yet, because they're not discovering about themselves, they still operate in 3D. It does not necessarily mean that we are in 3D. It's as consciousness, they still on 3D. Therefore, in my eyes, we are living at the moment in 2 parallel universes, simultaneously running. Some of us are working really hard like I used to do. Some of us are still working in lack and limitations, and they still kind of worry about everything. And some of us completely surrender, let go, shed our ego. We just completely, transform ourselves to believe that we can do anything with anything. It's not necessary to be, like most people say, manifesting from here. I had a video about this yesterday intellectually, but for me, it's more about manifesting from here collectively. And I know for sure these parallel realities and universe exist because there are a fair amount of people like me that are, I'm not saying so advanced, because nobody's more advanced than the other, but we understood this so quickly that we are operating not even from the mind anymore. We now start to operate from our hearts. We start to be present. We start to be centered. We start to understand our human journey, embodying our ascension. And therefore, ascension itself, it's another matter of a parallel reality, I think, because once we understand ascension, we understand universes and parallel realities, because everything is connected. So a lot of people are like, oh, we're going to go from here for that. Yes, we are, but it's consciousness on the quantum physics. We have the knowledge of going there and how to get there. For example, let me just give you an example. I was in this house not long ago. Somebody came around, ate a banana in during the day. The banana was left on the coffee table. I am positive, 100% positive, that somebody was in here. I couldn't see these people or this person, whatever, and therefore I was living a parallel reality with somebody there that I couldn't not just see. Somebody was there seeing me, probably eating in there, and I was like not acknowledging, but I only acknowledged when the banana was left on the table. And I was like, oh my effing God, what is this? And another parallel reality that I know that exists simultaneously while I'm here living is the day that my family of light, because I've been meditating for them to come to show me things. And the day they said, okay, let's do this, and I was scared to go, and I asked them, please do not take me. I don't want to leave that reality right now because I don't know if I'm going to go back to come back to this one. I could have gone to a more advanced reality or parallel universe, another dimension, you call it whatever you want. Conscientiously, I could have gone. I was with my eyes closed. I told this story. They uncover me on my bed sheets. They uncover me, but I did not want to enter into that parallel universe because I was not ready. Now I am ready. I can do simultaneous things. I'm here, but conscientiously, I know that I'm not because I'm already creating another version of me, which is going to come out very soon. So all these things that people have no idea. They think, honestly, Joe, a lot of people are going to think we lost the plot. It's fine. But what we're talking about is real. This Liliana that is doing a live video today exists somewhere else. And this Liliana, can ride a Ferrari somewhere else, can be a very successful either entrepreneur or self-made billionaire, but that Liliana exists. So many versions of me exist on this reality. I've chosen to be this one for now, for today. If
Right.
tomorrow, yeah, you agree? If tomorrow I decide my film take, I've done 100 takes already. I've tried them all. And my best version is not on this live video because this is what is today now, what you're seeing. If tomorrow I say I will be somewhere else, I could be anywhere in the world, and that not necessarily mean I'm not in a parallel universe, because anywhere in the world we could be living in a parallel universe.
Right.
But I'm not. Don't see this. Do you agree? Go on.
Yeah, I agree. So much that you said there resonated. And you mentioned that this is where people think we're going to be nuts or crazy, when we start talking about this sort of stuff. But that's the reason I always like to go back to science, quantum physics. And it's basically the infinite realities, and the transfer of energy is directly related to the principle called quantum entanglement. And quantum entanglement is literally, you can have two different protons in two separate parts of the universe. I mean, this has been tested and proven as what's actually happening. And this proton over here can be all the way over here in another solar system, in another galaxy. Whatever you do to this proton happens instantaneously to this proton. So it removes the whole idea of time and space as we know it in a three-dimensional world, in our physics realm. And it goes into a deeper understanding, like a deeper philosophy or philosophical view of what the hell's actually going on here. How is this energy and this energy light years separated, yet affected simultaneously? And it's through energy. It's through some sort of a hidden tunnel, those wormholes. We hear them when you talked about we're going to be able to travel through time and soon through space. We're using wormholes. There's wormholes in the universe. We just aren't aware of them. The common public isn't aware of them. I believe that the powers that be, military such, they know exactly where they are, and they're harnessing them and using them. So April asked a question: how can you tell when you're jumping? Are there ways to recognize when it's happening? I'll answer and then let you go on that, Liliana.
Well,
I feel that we don't know when it's happening because it's our conscious present state of being. So wherever we are at, whenever we're in a new reality, we believe that we're in the current present reality. If I wake up tomorrow and I'm on a yacht, I would have all of the previous memories of everything it took to get me onto that yacht from birth to that present moment. I don't believe that there's a way to designate one reality from another in the current moment, because it's literally just the current moment we live in and experience. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I have two takes on that as the film production that I'm making to my own. I think at the moment the way we can distinguish is some events are very dramatic, like the one I have in High Street. So some events are visible, let's say visible to some people around you, and you become unconsciousness. With your own consciousness, you become unconscious that you've been through that. Let's take this take number one, where I went to this quantum tunnel that I went through the car, and I know I went through it. For me, there was no car. For me, there was no bump. For me, there was no happening incident. But for the people around me, they saw it. So that was a parallel reality happening in front of my eyes right there.
Right.
And there is consciousness that nobody sees, that you feel that you belong somewhere else. And I'm going to give you an example, okay? Because I know who I am 100% now, I know the way people approach me every single time that I am living a new reality, a parallel reality, someone else, which is like kind of a royal. And I spoke to you, Joe, about this, because the way the people see me, the way the people treat me, the way the people are respecting me, the way the people praise me, even though I'm just this simple, humble Liliana, the way that people talk to me, the way that people say so many beautiful things about me shows me clearly there is a new or better or powerful version of me, someone else. And when they look at me, they remember that other version and not this one. This is the most easy way I can explain that I know that I'm living this 100% right now with a twin person. It could be with another name, with the same face, with the same visuals, but is a twin, as you said, another atom of me out there, equally the same in another physical body with the same physical face, but in another reality where people come to me. I mean, I'm doing all these networkings now, net connections online, that people think they know me. And I'm going to give you an example. If she ever comes to this live video to watch, when I met Tina Briggs, do you know Tina? She sells the crystals. She's
Yeah. I love Tina.
She recognized me straight away, and I never spoke to the woman my whole life. This is the prime example that I know that I live somewhere else. She said the first time I went online, on one of her videos, she said, Liliana, the Cruz, oh my God, I miss you so much. I haven't seen you for ages. And I was like, wow, she knows me? Wow. That is the prime example that I know 100% now that I've been visible to so many faces before I met them. This is why they know me. This is why they treat me the way they treat me. They know I'm sort of kind of royal, because the way, if you look at the way these people treat me, I met another woman from, she's a card reader like Tina as well, from Montreal, and she remembers me as a high priestess. How do you think that is possible? I don't know the woman from anywhere. She treated me with such royalty, such kindness, and she even said, you are a high priestess. Now, this April, to answer your questions, is that means I not just have two realities ongoing on multiple universe, I already faced three of them. And I can see it in front of my eyes. This body, me that you know me from this video conference or video podcast, it's not just the unique version of me. This is only one little version of me, because I am doing these film productions right now, and all these takes, this is only take one, maybe. And all the other takes that people see of me, they saw it in the movie already. They've been with me. They lived with me. Do you understand? If I answer your question,
Right.
April?
I love that idea. You know, you said everybody's seeing a different version of you. And that's absolutely right. You know, each person out there has, when they see you walking down the street, or your coworkers or your family or friends, every single person has a different version of who they believe you are. And each person's belief, in essence, is creating a different reality, a different dimension and universe parallel to the one you're living in. They make up a story in their imagination about who you are and what you do, what your life's involved, how you are as a person, whatever it may be, right? So that in and of itself is just a mind-blowing, you know, when you start to go down that path of, wait a minute, so everybody's seeing a different version of me, therefore how many actual realities are there? There's infinite, you know. Another go for it.
Go, you go.
Oh, I was gonna shift just a little bit and go into just mention kind of, you know, the idea that I think it was 2012 when CERN came on board with their Hydra Collider. I can't remember the Hadron Collider. CERN has that big Hadron Collider, and a lot of people out there on the boards and everything say that the universe actually ended back in 2012. Or if it didn't end, because of their experiments, we jumped off on a different timeline than the one we were presently on. And when that Hadron Collider did what it did, it instantly shifted our entire timeline onto the one we're in now. You know, all this crazy shit happening in the world makes people think, what kind of alternate reality, parallel universe am I actually living in? Up is down, left is right, you know, dogs and cats living harmoniously together. So, I mean, it's what really did happen. Did we shift an entire reality? And now we're living, like you said, in this 5D, 5-dimensional reality versus the old 3D world, which we're slowly migrating out of. Yes, it's disintegrating away, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. For majority of the world, they don't understand what's going on still, because they haven't had that ha moment like we have. We had to have. I mean, when you talk about 2012, just reminds me where so many people killed themselves because it was going to be the end of the world. But again, they decide to jump into parallel universe. They decide to end it there because they want to be another version of themselves. So they're not like they are dead, because even today I was speaking to somebody about this physical death.
Well, energy can't go anywhere. It can only be transferred. So when somebody dies, they're just shifting states, energetic flows. So you're absolutely right. They jumped into a different timeline than the one we're currently on, and a version of reality which we can only imagine.
You tell that to people, they're so scared. This subject scares a lot of people, because during COVID, this is the prime example that this is happening right now, parallel universe reality happening right now. A lot of us would not even have the physical ability to have these upgrades and uploads from the energies that are here. So decisively, everything is perfect orchestrated, and some of them decide to jump timelines because they could no longer sustain the body to be here with this new energy. Because a lot of people don't understand the 5D is a kind of different energy already. Okay, it's a totally different energy. We're no longer operating on a lower selves. We operate in a higher selves now, and the ones that are still operating on a lower version of themselves, they're still on the path of rediscovering. They don't know anything. They keep asking and they go on every single pendulum, spiritual pendulum, asking where am I? Because they don't understand yet the concept, so they need guidance because they know there's something ongoing. They just don't know where to go. They don't know where to look because they don't understand the concept that we are all one and everything is within. So, considering this timeline that is 5D versus 3D, 90% of population still asking these questions: where am I? Not understanding this is the most basic example how we live in already a parallel reality. Most of the people out there, our friends and family around, and all of you resonate, they are still believing in a 3D world that is parallel already 5D world, but they don't understand why you think this way and why we think this way. So I'm not vaccinated, I'm not obedient to this rules and whatever, and I am not going to leave that reality because I don't leave the school system, I don't believe the health system anymore. I don't believe I'm going to have a career if I go to university, because the degree is only a bit of paper and I can actually make money without that paper myself because I discover who I am. So I'm operating on a higher version of me on a 5D, where the 3D is still operating on the lowest version of themselves, still obedient because they need the money to work. I actually talked to this about this subject yesterday. Making money, it's such a thing for these parallel universes. Once people understand where we're heading, and this is a topic maybe for another day, but this is so useful right now. Once the world understand where we're heading and understand that we are not going to longer be needed all this money anyway, although everybody try to get money because they are seeking out, as I explained yesterday. Once you quantum jump this consciousness, understand why is this here in the first place, because it's to change everything that we've been taught, and you understand going forward you don't actually need to all this money because collectively we're going to think all the same. Therefore we're going to have so many communities working towards the same, not needing all this money to buy all these things, because these are things anyway and they don't matter because they don't exist, they only just things. People understand, then we're going to jump another massive parallel reality or parallel universe. Because going forward, I can tell you, maybe let's say 5-10 years time, we're gonna be doing a live video and say, oh my gosh, we talked about this 10 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and look at us, we don't actually need the money. We've got all these people working towards each other and with each other, not against each other, no more, no competition, no greed, no this. Everybody's cultivating, everybody's working towards self-sustainability programs and purifying the earth and the planet, because that's the end goal. That's the end goal. And we're going to say, oh my gosh, we just jumped another parallel universe, another reality. Do you agree?
Right. Yes. And you hit a good point there in terms of how many people, 90% of the population probably is still asleep to our powers. And even Richard said, if these new energies are so powerful, everything should be able to download.
Yeah.
Basically, everything should be able to be created. And
yeah,
you're absolutely right. Everything is energy. Everything is available to us. It's available when we go within and we get those downloads. We get those little glimpses. I get them all the time. I get this glimpse of this reality that I can create, but it still takes action on your part. Like, you can't just sit there and you see it, you believe it, and sit back and wait. A lot of times you get these visions, I get them, and it's showing me something, an alternate reality or an alternate option for my life if I go down this path. And I'm not always shown how to reach that goal, to get there. I'm just shown the end, and then it's my job to figure out what all's in the middle here. It's my job to understand and to extract out all of this, how I get here. But the point is, it's already there. That energy swirling around, it's already there. We just have to harmonize to it and allow it, the law of attraction, allow it to pull us towards it, feel it, believe it, be there, set your action, your motion in action.
I totally agree what you're saying, but I am going to tell you something that I believe I'm living at the moment, because I quantum leap a few realities already. Because if you talk about this like 6 months ago, I will say to you, Joey, you're quite right, and it takes some time towards it. Where I am now, I can actually just think about it, and I have to be very careful what I'm going to say, because this is going to affect a lot of people right now, because everything I say has become so manifested so fast. So I jump another parallel universe, another reality. I was speaking to a friend of mine that was trying to get me into network marketing, and he was working for Bob Proctor. And I said to him, you know what? I used to work so hard. I used to be on Zoom calls all day, just occupying my time just to make money, all these platforms, gold, silver, Bitcoin, oil, you name it, property and whatever behind the scenes. And it was like I was like a busy fool. And although Bob Proctor said about all these action and do success, whatever, I said to my friend, the man already made it. The man already has a name. The man doesn't need me to create for him. He already created. When I say that, I manifested. I'm not saying I ask him to go, for goodness sake. Bob, thank you very much for everything. I know you just shifted on a timeline and you are very happy with your life that you're having right now. But I manifested something that I just like look back and I was like, oh my gosh, did I manifest this? I said to my friend, Bob is done. Bob is done. Bob has created his legacy, doesn't need anybody else to do it for him, because he was doing for enjoyment, and last minute he was like just doing it for the sake of doing it, just to keep himself busy, occupied. Now I've jumped another parallel universe reality, because I don't operate in a state of actioning anymore. I'm actioning from my mind, from my visuals, and that's what I do. I went to play the lottery last week. No, actually on Tuesday. I maybe I'm reaching, I don't know. And the woman said, "Oh, I hope you get it." I said, "Well, I wouldn't play otherwise if I didn't believe I was gonna have it, because I used to be like you. I used to work, so many hours a week." Because the woman.
Uh-oh.
There
you are.
My friend just called me and I had to cut off. I told her I was going to do live. Anyway, I said to this woman, I was like you, thinking like you, working like you, because I needed the money like you. But now I'd rather live with less or not working much, because I've created a new reality. And she said, so do you believe you're going to have this without any effort? I said, absolutely right. Correct. Because if I didn't believe it, I would not live in this reality that I am now. My state of consciousness is just this one, and I'm going to live it live for everyone. I'm already creating a new reality that is like minimum effort, and I'm going to have no effort whatsoever. I'm just going to let it be, set it, because I know it exists. If I doubt that this doesn't exist, is no point for me to think about it, or I don't have to action it. What you have to do, of course you have to do something, but it's not going to be like the people used to tell us 12 hours a day, work, because success. Because I don't seek the external, because I know these parallel universes existed. And because they exist, and they're so fast to manifest with your thinking, your mind, whatever you want to say, a lot of people still manifest it intellectually. Right, this is the difference on my parallel universe right now against all odds, okay? Everybody entered into new teaching of spirituality. Suddenly, out of nowhere, everybody come out and say, oh, I'm living this dream, which is I'm spiritual. Out of the blue, everybody's spiritual. And they were embarrassed. We just holding the light. I've been holding the light for 2 years as soon as I found out I could do this. And now, because I've given this example, which is another parallel reality that exists and is here to stay, everybody says like, oh, she's doing it, she's not embarrassed. Let me try and do it, which is good, because I've set up the example without any worry of acceptance or criticism or anything like that. So what I'm trying to say is, once I understood how the power works, because remember, one of us started for a lot of people around me to find the courage that I made them enter into my reality. I made them. I'll give you examples. Some of my property friends were not talking about this a few years back in 2020. They were like, oh, yeah, she lost the plot. She's not successful. She's not doing this. She's not doing that. Okay, they don't know what I'm doing, but I'm creating without doing. the being without doing sometimes is the more creative one, is the more highest of the highest, because you become to create not intellectually but from your heart. And this is something, this is very valuable. If somebody is watching this, they might think I'm lost the plot, and I don't care. Creating from the heart is the highest form of creation. Believe me, because I know what I'm saying. And when I say this, I know, because it would not be connected if I didn't operate from the heart. That means that if I'm not working 24/7 because I don't want to be exhausted, because I'm no longer seeking the external, now that I know the external, what people call abundance, whatever they want to call it, success, whatever, acceptance, I've already accepted myself. Therefore, I've accepted everybody else as they are. So in the way of my path and my journey, my parallel reality that I've entered right now, because this is deep, I know along my path I'm going to meet 10 versions of me that going to materialize this into form, and I don't have to do anything. And this is, take notes, this is real. When you understand that you are architecting your life from the heart and never from the mind anymore, because remember, we enter into another paradigm, and these paradigms are coaches are teaching, they still teaching how to be rich. Now, we need money, everything, correct, but everybody's seeking the external still. I stopped that external seeking, therefore my parallel universe reality that I'm living is I am already there. I don't need to seek that no longer, because I know how I'm operating right now. And I can see in a few years' time, maybe next year, a lot of people are going to resonate with me and say how we came together in one, thinking the same and acting the same, just by not doing, just being. Does that make sense to any of you that watching? Please, I want to know. Does that make any sense to you guys?
Yeah. Richard said,
I can't hear you.
you can't
Joe,
hear me?
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me. That's weird. Huh. Nothing's muted.
Can anybody hear Joey?
Unmute.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Mute.
It's not muted.
Here we go.
I mean, yeah, you're good. So
Are you mute, Joey?
nope.
No?
I'm not. Nope.
Can they hear you?
Yeah. Everybody should be able to hear me. I don't know what's going on. I haven't changed anything here. So
Here we go.
can you hear me now? All right. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
April says she can hear both of us, so weird. Anyways, maybe when that call came in.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe when that call came in, I don't know. Well, I tell you what, if we can't figure this out. Yeah, try jumping out. We've only got 3 minutes left until the hour's up, so let's just wrap it up for the day.
Oh, Jesus.
As Liliana figures out what is wrong with her software there. We got a few minutes left, and I was going to talk about how she was saying how multiple times she has shifted and jumped realities. I think it was Neville Goddard who talked about how we shift our realities. We create a new reality. I think it's every 7 years was his understanding of it.
I can't hear you, Joey. Gonna have.
You can't hear me? Up. Okay. Well, she's out of here, so we'll wrap up the show. But yeah, I think it was Neville Goddard who mentioned, or who used to say, that every 7 years we create a new reality, and we jump into a new, basically, dimension. And I definitely can agree. For me, I've looked back, and a lot of my life has been in 7-year cycles, unbeknownst to me. Getting married with my wife, April. Before that, it was my children. Before that, it was coming out of college, my early 20s. And that was a whole nother realm, that we can dive into. But yeah, I had each one of those versions of me was a different version for real. I mean, for instance, the young 20s version of me was very lost, very confused. That's when I attempted suicide, so this goes into the whole idea even of walk-ins, like Quo talks about, and walk-ins in terms of
Here
are
we
you
are.
back? Can you hear me?
Yes, because I lost.
Nice.
Why my friend, she called me and I told her not to disturb me for an hour, but she keeps getting it. So I think
I
that,
figured that's what happened.
yeah.
So yeah, I was just sharing real quick. We're at the top of the hour here, so I was just talking about how Neville Goddard, I think it was, that says our life restarts every 7 years. We like have a new reality every 7 years, and
Body
for
reset,
me,
huh?
huh?
The body resets itself every 7 years, correct?
Yes, and for me, I've definitely jumped into different phases, different realities for each of those 7 years of my life. And then it made me think, am I it goes into the topic of walk-ins, because in my 20s was a hard time for me, very lost. That's when I tried to commit suicide, a lot of different things going on then. So I've always wondered, did I have a walk-in, as Quo and Ra
Yeah,
talk about? Did I have a walk-in come into me in my early
maybe.
20s, and they're kind of helping direct and guide the course of my life at this point,
Yeah.
so that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother
Yes.
live, I guess. So, but yeah, we're at the hour mark here, and doesn't look like we have any viewers left, so we might as well call it
Yeah.
a day.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was absolutely interesting. A lot of all these insights are very scary to people, and some of them not even understand. I think Miriam said once to me, "Not many women are where I am," and what she meant to say with this was, we are waking up to something, but most of us not even understand what we're waking up to. Where I made my absolute effort to understand everything about what's going on, including my own existence. Until the human don't understand about their own existence, there's no point to show them, because they need to explore themselves. And only by exploring themselves, they understand what realities they live in, how they can achieve multiple realities. And at the moment, I can say to you, without any shadow of the doubt, that I'm living in 3 realities right now, because I know them. I sometimes I wake up and I say, where I am today, am on this house or when I'm somewhere else reality, because I now let it all in. And because I'm making steps towards my new reality already, that means soon enough I know I'll be talking about another parallel universe that I'm living. So until then, thank you for watching.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll have a new topic next week, yet to be determined. But I think I'd like to put a poll in the group page, and that
Yes.
way we'll give 3 or 4 options, and we can gear the show each week, maybe starting to do that around some different topics and everything that the viewers, that the fans actually want to hear. So I'll get something like that set up, a poll. So check back with the group. Reality Practice private group, and we will get you the questionnaire, the poll, and we'll figure out what you guys want to hear. And until then, like I said, thanks for joining, Liliana. Wonderful, amazing as always. Thanks everybody for watching. We appreciate your support, and always continue to ask yourself, what reality are you choosing to create today? Bye, guys.
Ciao, 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 ciao.